unexplainable.
Never need a match. It's unexplainable. It's unconditional. It's unforgettable. Unstoppable. So intentional. It's so invitable. Indescribable.
Hello, 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 and welcome to His
And her
Perspective. And here at His and Her Perspective, what do we do here, Vaun?
We find common ground to harmonize relationships.
Yes, that is what we do over here. And we are doing it and doing it wow, as they say back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Because today we are talking about something. Let me tell y'all, if you look at us right now, make sure that you're sharing. Why? Because sharing is caring, but forget all that. This is going to be a hot show. Please make sure that you're sharing. Click the link. Give us the heart. Let us know that you love us. Go ahead and share. Tell us who you are, where you're tapping in from so that we can say hello. Also, this show, as all of our shows, is sponsored in part by our books, Conditions of Love by Vaun the Love Alchemist and Rejection Saved My Life by myself, yours truly. So please make sure that you go ahead and pick up our books. You can click on our both of our profiles, Vaun the Love Alchemist on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all of the social media platforms, as well as myself, Coach Michelamonè, at all social media platforms. You can find our websites where you can buy our books. Support your girl and your guy so that we can go ahead and keep making love fun again. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow all of our social media platforms, as well as ATR, All Things Relevant, on all social media platforms. We are streaming live to 8 different pages as we have been for the last couple of months. This is great. I'm excited. How are you doing, brother?
Oh, man, all is well. You know, I'm on the road. I'm traveling a little bit, but, all is well, man, in spite of. So how are you?
I'm wonderful. See, he loves y'all so much that he is taking time out of his family time while he's coming to see his family to be here with us. So I really am grateful and thankful to that, brother. Thank you so much. And thank your lovely wife, Desi, for lending you to us for this time.
Yeah. All of the above. Thank you. I appreciate your appreciation.
Yes. Today we are going to talk about toxic masculinity and poisonous femininity. Your place or mine?
Where did that come from?
This, when I tell you oxymoron across the board,
man, heavy.
This is gonna be good.
Yeah. Let's do it, man.
Let's get right in. Let's get right into this because we don't want to keep too much of Brother Vaughn's time. But who else is over here? Did we say hello to everybody? Hello to Neil. I think he put up all your posts and everything. Hello, Yarly at the bakery. Hey, Aaron. How you doing? Hey, Danielle. Hey, Brother James. How are you all doing? Thank you so much to Neil for tagging all your friends. Go ahead and tag some more, because we know that we can't do a watch party anymore because Facebook is tripping, but that's all right. It's more than one way to skin a cat, right?
Yep. Tag and share the video.
Yes, please. And please
give us that thumbs up, give us that heart,
Yes. Hey, Armandina, how are you doing? Thank you so much. Thanks for Danielle for tagging your husband. Tell him to get on over here. We're starting. Love this. So listen, I want to really start off because in order for us to be able to eradicate something, we have to really know what it means. Where does it come from? What's the core of it? So, brother, I want to start off with, what does toxic masculinity mean? What is that?
Toxic masculinity. Well, for starters, I don't, is oxymoron the right word?
Yeah, I think so.
Because because masculinity, when it's present, it can't be toxic, right? There's only one way to do it. It's either you're masculine or you're not. Either you have masculinity is present, or it's not. The absence of masculinity is what's toxic.
Yes.
Right?
That's good.
So I would start there. I would say that the absence of masculinity is what's toxic, not masculinity being overdone or any of the other stuff. Because once you begin to overdo it, is when you begin to take away from what it actually.
That's good.
So I'll start there, and I'll let you ease on into what your thoughts are about poisonous femininity.
Yeah, let's talk about what poisonous femininity. Y'all know I love the dictionary, even though some of the words in there need to be snatched out, like divorce. Yeah, I told y'all how I'm gonna do, right? Shouldn't be in the dictionary, shouldn't be a part of your vocabulary, okay? But poison, we know what poison is. It's something that could, if we ingest it, it could either give us an illness or it can kill us, right? And femininity, there's that oxymoron thing. Femininity is a bringer or a producer of life. So here you got something that could kill you with something that could bring life. They don't match, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're dealing with these oxymorons of either too much of something to kill it or not enough of something to kill it. It just shouldn't go together. So yeah, and then the fact that we're saying your place or mine is because we're still coming together in the dysfunction.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, like one of the things that came to my mind when I was doing this, brother, is like, in order for us to know where we stand with this toxic masculinity and poisonous femininity, we don't know what we're doing. We're doing things that's causing this oxymoron, because this is the thing. We always talk about this. If you all have followed our show for as long as you have, or one or two shows, whatever, we're consistently producing anything that's going to cause a unification of our community and the Black man and the Black woman. So anything that's against that is going to bring poison, is going to bring toxic, because there's no unification. And if we can't unify, then we're not in purpose, right? So when you look at the word toxic masculinity, brother, when you look at that, what comes to your mind?
Well, so I have this acronym that I do, and lately I've been kind of getting into acronyms a little bit.
Love it.
And so I just kind of played around with some words that correlate to how I spell masculinity.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So we know how to spell masculine. It starts with an M.
Yeah.
And I say that the first thing, or one of the first things a man has to do in order to be masculine, he has to be motivated. Right? You have to be motivated. I think that there are so many different expressions of doing what it is that we need to do, doing what we're supposed to do, and doing what we have to do. I heard a young man tell me a long time ago that a boy does what he wants to do, but a man does what he has to do.
I love that.
And I think there's a difference between being healthily motivated and unhealthily motivated, right? So it's not just about being motivated, but it's about being motivated towards healthy outcomes, towards healthy ends. For the A, I would say assertive. Assertive, which is confidently aggressive or self-assured. And you can throw accountable in with that.
Yeah.
S, I would say strength. But here's the thing. Some people are not strong. They're just aggressive.
That's true.
And we got to know the difference between strength, right? And so sometimes we confuse sensitivity with weakness.
Yep.
I used to think when I was raising my son, I was so hard on my son when he was a little boy because he was sensitive. And I used to equate him being sensitive with him being soft. And I didn't want no soft son, right? And so I was harder on him than I needed to be in order to make sure that he wasn't soft. And so the difference between American ideals or Western ideals as it equates to sensitivity and emotions with men or with masculine behavior. In Western culture, Western society, it's synonymous. How do I say this? The way we look at emotions as we've arrived at manhood, the better we can hide our emotions or harness them or quiet them, suppress them. Right?
Yeah.
In our indigenous culture prior to colonization, and even if you want to take it back to Africa, because I say the American black man and woman are the American Indians, right? Mm-hmm. That's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother show. But we them Indians, right? But look, in our indigenous culture prior to colonization, the healthiest expression of masculinity was being in touch with a full range of our emotions, rather than suppressing them, which is what we're taught is masculinity now. Now, again, I ain't talking about crying at the drop of a hat or whatever, but I'm also talking about not being afraid to shed a tear if it so comes to that, right? Let me speed through these real quick.
Because that's the fullness of who we are.
It is.
You can suppress parts of you.
Yeah. It's and you know what happens when you look, pressure busts pipes. Yeah. Right. And if you suppress those emotions if you do it long enough, at some point it's going to come out. It's just a matter of where and how. Yeah. It's not always going to come out in the healthiest way. It might come out in the form of punching holes in walls. Right. Right. Breaking stuff, beating up on your woman. Right. Right. These are not logical decisions to punch a wall or to beat up on your woman or to beat the children. These are unhealthily expressed emotions. Right. Okay. Right. So moving right along, I think for the C, I would say courageous. Okay. Having the mind and the spirit to face difficult, dangerous, painful scenarios. Now, there's a difference between being courageous and being stupid. Right? Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the understanding that what we must do is more important than the fact that we might fear. Right? So it's not only being afraid, but doing it afraid. That's what courage is. Next would be understanding. And the Bible tells us, in all thy getting, what? Get an understanding. Right? A man, not only, he doesn't have all the answers, but we always look for understanding, particularly as it equates to, or as it pertains to our woman. There's another passage in the Bible where it talks about dwell with your woman according to understanding. So we're always encouraged in all ways to get understanding, but I'll even go a step further than that. And I would say the very first thing and the most important thing to understand is self. Yeah. Right. Above the schools in ancient Egypt, it used to say, first and foremost, know thyself. Right. So they were the masters of the universe. They knew all kinds of things, from astronomy to astrology, math. They brought language, the alphabet. They mastered all manners of the universe. That's where the term He-Man and the Masters of the Universe comes from. Right. Right. Anyway, whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. But the point is, in all thy getting, get understanding first of self, mastering thyself. Right. What else? What did I leave off at? You asked you. That was you. That was understanding. Look, let me say this. In order to understand, like we throw these vague terms out there, and I get myself caught up in some of these cliches too. But in order to understand, you have to study. You have to study. And a man who is dwelling in the purpose of what it means to be masculine, he is studying. He is ever evolving. He is learning. He is purposeful about learning how to better not only his own life, but those around him, those who are within his reach. Those are who he's in charge of taking care of. Right. Where else did I go? How do you spell masculine? Masculi. Yeah. So the next one is L, which is loyal. A masculine man is loyal. Now, I understand that there are people out here who say a man don't cheat. We just exercise options. To hell with that, right? I say that a man is loyal if first and foremost to his word. Yes. So if I give my word, right, in the beginning, there was the word, right? So there are a few things what Scarface say, all I have in this world is my balls and my word, right? You gotta be loyal. Yeah. And when you talk about those two things, that's that toxic
masculinity. You cannot put the two together. Masculinity is being a man. It's having character, integrity, loyalty. Those are things that manhood brings you. So if you can just go around and just be an infidel just because you got a penis.
Right. And I think a man of your word.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm moving along so you can get to yours. I don't want to take up some time.
Go ahead.
But loyal, the opposite of that, if you want to talk about what toxic masculinity would be, if we're going to entertain that word for a second, toxic masculinity would look like a man who's disloyal, a man who's selfish.
Yeah.
Right? Because we know that men, at the height of masculinity, is a giving spirit.
Yes.
A supplying spirit. It is a spirit that provides. You cannot be selfish and masculine at the same time. It does not work.
It doesn't.
Okay? Now, again, in context, there is a certain level of self first that we all have to practice self-preservation.
Right.
But again, not selfish.
Right.
Next, I would say noble. A masculine man is noble. What does that mean? Solid and sound moral character, upstanding. You're not out here hurting people, robbing people, raping people, selling drugs, pimping women. Like, those are not noble characters. If you did something, own it, right?
Yeah.
Being accountable. And then I would say, last but not least, a masculine man is economically sound. Does that mean you have to be rich? No, you don't have to be rich, but you have to at least be able to meet your own needs. And then those of those needs of the people that you produce. If you bring on a woman into your life, if you bring children into your life, you have to at least be able to sustain that which you produce.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And James Gifford says, even though masculinity is being debated today, when it is taught in a way that oppress or suppress the true essence of what it really is, that's toxic because it hinders instead of help.
Right. Absolutely.
And we have a lot of that right now. We y'all know, if y'all been following us, who we're talking about. We're not going to give him any more algorithms, but it's toxic masculinity, oxymoron. You can't have both.
You can't hate women and be masculine. You can't even dislike women. I'm not talking about disliking a woman. I'm talking about categorically disliking or having a general overall lack of appreciation for feminine, for femininity. That is not masculine behavior. I ain't never seen a lion walk past female lionesses with his nose turned up.
Never. And you never will.
Talking about he don't want nothing to do with them. Talking about the highest aspiration that I could have as a male lion is to disassociate myself from female.
That's so perverse. Okay. So here, Yarley says sensitive acting males are mostly perceived as weak and untrustworthy by both males and females. Tears are great for watering flowers or filling up a cup. They're also great for cleansing. They're also great for showing joy. That, you know, we have, and that's what I was going to ask you. Where do you think the idea of him being soft comes from? Because he's sensitive. Where do you think that mindset?
Yeah. So look, we know that in order to get to a place where you've been hurt, right? Nobody wants to be hurt. It's painful, and sometimes some people have a very hard time recovering from being hurt, right?
Right.
In order to be hurt by someone or something, you have to first care about that or that person. In order to do that, you have to make yourself vulnerable, right? Now, here's the thing. You cannot rise to the highest levels of whatever it takes to embrace a healthy ideal of masculinity, right? So you won't be able to produce a family and protect them and care for them and provide for them in a healthy way without first making yourself vulnerable to what it means to the idea of losing them or not protecting them, not having them, right? So one of the things that a lot of men fear is making themselves vulnerable and then reaping the repercussions of making themselves vulnerable to the wrong people.
Yeah.
Because what that does, look, if I make myself vulnerable to the wrong woman and then she plays me for a fool and I'm out here, you know, ain't bathed, ain't shaved, like Anthony Hamilton say, right? Ain't bathed, ain't shaved. And I'm saying what that does is sometimes it causes irreparable damage. And in order for men to not undergo that, to have to confront that or deal with that, we build this wall and we say, well, I ain't caring about no woman ever again. And so what they do then in turn is all they want to do is have sexual relations with women, but they refuse to engage beyond a very basic level of concern or a very basic level of caring. But in turn, that hurts you as much, if not more, than it hurts the women that you're interacting with, because deep inside every man's soul, I don't care who you are, you want to, one, have somebody that you care about, but just as important, somebody who cares about you.
Come on.
You can sell crazy somewhere else. I'm all stocked up here.
Right.
No better.
Come on. And the thing about this is, and I always talk about people, I have had people to attack me because I really believe that if we treated our relationships, and I'm not talking about the core of emotions and things of that sort, or the connections, I'm talking about in its rawest form, treated our relationships the same way we treat our careers and our businesses and the things that make us money, we would then reap the greatness out of our relationships that we do our businesses and our careers. Nobody's going to show up to a job, right, and say, you know what, I don't really care if y'all don't pay me. I'm just going to come here and just, you know, I'm just going to show up. Nobody's going to do that. And nobody can show up to the job and just decide, well, I'm just going to kick it over here in the corner, give me my check, run me that check in 2 weeks. I ain't doing nothing. You can't do that. You will be fired or you will lose your business. But if we put the energy, the same energy we do in chasing the bag, into chasing what is going to create the support, create the drive, create the reasons for, the whys for us going out to chase the bag, you can do anything. You can create anything. So let me go into the feminine qualities.
No, hold on.
What?
Set it up. So, Coach Michelle, tell us what type of femininity is.
Let me tell you. This is okay. Let me just go into my notes. I'm gonna try to stay focused because this is so big for me. I think that we have, y'all know the name of my business is called the Core Woman Academy. And I truly believe not that we have all of the responsibility, but just like if you want your core right, because you want to get on the bikini, because you're going to Hawaii or the Bahamas or Jamaica, you got to get that you got to get snatched, right? It's the same thing as women got to get snatched. Okay. Your core tight, everything else will be tight. Your head, which is, I believe, is the man. You're the neck. You're the core. All those things. Your arms, which is your influence, will be okay. Your legs, which is where you go, which is your children, because they take you into your future. Your back, which is your faith, because that's what you lean up against. All of those things will be on point if the core was tight. Okay. So I ain't gonna go. Okay. So the traits of a poisonous woman is she's very manipulative. Now, we talked about manipulation before, that everybody pretty much uses some form of manipulation when there's beneficial to both parties. But when you're only benefiting yourself and you're using your gift of persuasion to now be manipulative, to get your way and only your way, that's toxic. That's poison. Because ultimately, you're injecting all this manipulation into the relationship and you want him to respond. Give you a perfect example. I saw a post last week and the girl says, yeah, what do? I told this guy I didn't want to be in a relationship. And then he texted me back and said, okay, nice to know you, goodbye. And she said, but I'm devastated. How are you devastated when you just told him that you didn't want a relationship? But when he obliged you, now you're mad and you're devastated? No, you were playing games. You were being manipulative rather than saying, hey, dude, guess what? This ain't going where I like it to go. What you looking for? Maybe we're not on the same page. Let's see. Ask questions you never would have known. They are takers. The poisonous women are takers and less than givers. Now, mind you, the feminine quality is to nurture. We give life. We give of our bosoms to feed the life. We give, we nurture. That's what we do. We cultivate. And that's part of giving. When you're walking around, you go to your harvest, okay? Plant some seeds. Go to your soil, plant some seeds. Go, 6 months down the line to go get the harvest. You got this whole harvest out there. You go and pick it up. You don't replant. Guess what? Your harvest has now become a one and done. There's no future in that. But you did all that work for you to do what? For it to get a one and done? That makes no sense. They only listen just to be heard. I'm gonna tell him what I got to say. Listen, stop trying to get a word in edgewise instead of just listening to what his heart says, what that man is trying to tell you. He may not be as verbal as you. We women tend to say that we're effective communicators because we know how to talk. We're very skilled with our mouths. Our tongues are sharp. They're very skilled, but we have to learn how to be quiet sometimes. And if it's all about you, there's no compromise. They're either overtly or covertly controlling. And let's talk about that. Either outright controlling, they want to just do what they want. They want him to do what they want him to do. And they're just, that's it. That's done. We're not doing. Or they feel like, well, you know what? He doesn't want to have children now, but I'm just gonna stop taking my pills. Or you know what? He's saying that he don't want a relationship right now, but I'm just gonna show up and keep being the same woman. I'm gonna show him I'm the best woman that I can be. Or he's telling you that, you know what? I don't want to do it this way, but I'm just gonna tell him what we're gonna do, and I'm just gonna make it his idea. You can do it that way, but make sure you can do it his idea way, but make sure it's going to benefit the both of you and not just you. Okay. And then lastly, they have this victim mentality. This victim mentality, every man is the same. I don't know why I keep attracting the same type of guy when you really attract who you are. Mm. If we can sit up here, I love affirmations. Okay. I love talking about how I attract. I do not chase. I attract. Anything that is duly mine will simply find me. However, if the inside of my core, my soul, my belief system doesn't believe that, I'm just speaking words. So if you keep saying ain't no good men out here and I keep attracting the same type of dude, but you're not trying to fix the reason why, because if you're the common denominator of that, then there's some issues that maybe you need to work out. I'm telling you from experience, I had to do the work, and it takes work to get some of this going. So those are some of the things, and there's more, but those are some of the major things I think that you can see within yourself or somebody else. First, make sure that you check in yourself for clean your own front porch before you start pointing fingers. But those are some of the major 4 traits of a poisonous feminine woman.
Yeah. Look, I think people, some very basic universal laws, right? You reap what you sow.
Yeah.
But that's only half of it. They don't tell us the other part of that, right? Yeah. You sow from a bag, you reap to a truck. You sow from a bag, but you reap to a truck. What does that mean? That means you go out there with a little bitty bag, right? You can have a bag and it can hold 1,000 seeds.
Yeah.
That bag is only about that big.
Yep.
Put 1,000 seeds out there and see how big that harvest comes back.
Yeah.
You sow from a bag, but what you reap on that harvest is going to be so much more than what you sown.
That's good.
Here's the thing. If you sow good, you reap good.
Yeah.
If you sow bad, you reap bad. Now, sometimes we find ourselves saying things like, man, I ain't even do all that. What I did didn't deserve all that.
Yep.
Hey, you can choose the crime, but you can't choose the punishment.
Nope.
Right? So when we go out here sowing our toxic behavior, our poisonous behavior, stand back, because that thing gonna come back.
Yeah.
And when it do, to use my best English, as I mess up the King's English, when it do come back.
It's coming. It's coming. And we really need to pay attention to, see, we think that, well, you know, that's not my son. That's not my daughter, but it's somebody's son and it's somebody's daughter. And if you keep doing that or being mean, insensitive, toxic, and poisonous to somebody else's son or somebody else's daughter, then somebody else gonna do that either to you or to your son or your daughter. I had this guy to tell me he didn't have children. He's 52 years old. He didn't have children because he was so dirty in his younger years. He didn't want to put that out on his kids.
Wow.
And so when I thought of that, the first thing I thought was, well, could be honorable, could be noble, right? But do you know what you did? You created a disconnect in your legacy that could have been a child that would have cured cancer, could have been you just don't know what God made for you to do, created for you to do, because we have will. We have will, which I'm going to talk about, which how to remedy. We can do those things, but we don't, he's not going to make us follow our purpose. He's not going to make us do, you know what, you better get down there and do that purpose or else. No, he's like, hey, I'm going to send you with a purpose. You want to do it? On you. You want to make life harder? Go right ahead.
Yeah. It's some, oh man, there's so many unhealthy ideas out here about what it means to be masculine and what it means to be feminine. And I mean, I've seen them all. I mean, let's go through some of the comments.
Yeah, James says, question, if I'm practicing masculinity or manhood and my lady doesn't make me feel like a man, what must I do? That's good. That's good. See, well, you talk about what he would do and I'll talk about what she should do to support what you say.
Okay. Now, first and foremost, I know this ain't Brother James. This is hypothetical because I already know how that brother's showing up. So
absolutely,
I'm gonna feel free to answer, freely.
Yeah.
I think typically if you are presenting the best version of yourself, right? Because that's part of what it means to be masculine, to show up in the fullness of your manhood. And that doesn't mean we'll be perfect, but we show up to the best of our ability.
Yeah.
And if you show up to the best of your ability, we're knowing that we're a constant work in progress. We're a work in progress, but we're still showing up to the best of our ability. Sometimes, I almost hate to say this because I don't want nobody to break up based on what I'm about to say. But sometimes the person that you're dealing with is so toxic that they can't appreciate. They're not even in a healthy enough space to be able to appreciate what it is that you're offering.
Yeah,
I was watching this movie, Why Did I Get Married? And it was Michael J. White. He was, the two women were arguing over him, and he was saying he ended up getting so upset to the point where he said, you know what, some of you women, he said, you're so used to losing that you can't even tell when you've won.
Yep.
And sometimes you are offering the right package. Right? Sometimes you're offering the right package to the wrong address.
Come on.
So I'm just saying, and I'm not saying leave your woman if that's what it is, but she has to get healed, right? I talk about healing all the time. She has to get healed. She has to go through some kind of therapy or coaching or some type of manner of making herself better.
Yeah. Because
if you're doing it right, and I just laid out some very basic principles as I spelled out the word masculine. Right. But I think you can add to those things if you want to. But if you remove any of those things, I think you're going to find yourself coming up short. Right. Yeah. So if we start with that as an outline of the principles of manhood, if you show up in that way doing those things and she doesn't appreciate that, then something's wrong with her and she needs help.
Yeah. Now, I also want to tap on to both sides in that. Yes, she does need help. She does need to go through some healing. But what are you cultivating in her? that would create her to be non-supportive of who you are.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Submission, because that's really what that is. We have these conversations of what submission really is. Submitting is giving of oneself. That's really all. That's that simple. Giving of oneself to your partner, and then they in turn do the same thing. So are you cultivating a givingness in her where she would, and I know this is not you, Brother James, but I'm just the male period, where she would automatically just fall in? Because the natural inclination of even the hardest woman, and I'll tell you why I said that, will be for her to fall in. I mean, just her to lean in. I was raised by my father. I was raised to be a provider. I wasn't raised to be a nurturer. I didn't start being a nurturing mother to my children about 10 years ago. My son will be 30. My daughter will be 23, 24. So I spent most of their life being a provider, and hey, I'll just throw money at you. Oh, you want love? Here's a car. You want love? Here's a BlackBerry. Whatever things. And I didn't know how to do that because I wasn't taught to do that. But when it came to my man, oh, I'm falling in. I was the one that was, I can get it done. I know how to get it done. I know how to come up in a conference room and woo everybody in there, white and black men, and stand my own where I got the respect. Because when I had my insurance agency, I dealt with a whole bunch of Italian men, and they come in, they want you to be intimidated, but I wasn't. Okay. So I knew how to boss up when I needed to. But when it came to my man, I was nurturing. I leaned in. So our natural inclination is to do that. Now, if you're cultivating a place where she can fall in and she's still being toxic towards you or poisonous towards you, then she needs some help. That doesn't mean that you need to leave, but that means that you're going to have to buckle down and say, hey, you know what, baby, I think that there's some things that we need to do. Maybe she can't seek coaching by herself. Maybe she can seek coaching with both of y'all. And then eventually when she starts to trust the process, you know what, baby, why don't you, or even the coach may say, I think that maybe you need to do some things privately.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But it has to be the both. You cannot think that you can just leave each other out there when you really need each other. And we have, as a community, has not been taught to be healing. We've been taught what goes on in my house stays in my house. You better not tell nobody, I'm going to beat your butt. And that goes for being a kid and being an adult. Yep. Men and women both. I know a man who was getting beat by his wife because he was telling his friend what was going on. Beat.
Wow.
Yes. I mean, I'm not talking about no little man, because he would refuse to hit her back. So she was tearing in on him, beating him because he was trying to get some help.
Look, you mentioned this, we're going into domestic violence a little bit, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And as we talk about the poisonous feminine and the toxic masculine, I heard a concept that I think is an attempt to minimize what really amounts to domestic violence.
Yeah.
And they talked about domestic discipline is the word that they used.
Yeah.
Where, yeah, look, like it's clever, right?
That is.
Man, I'm telling you, it's these people out here, man. So what the message was that there's a safe word that's created, right? We all know what a safe word is, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say that the safe word is apple pie, mm-hmm. right? And so if the woman is, and it only goes one way now, right? So if the woman is talking too much, the conversation gets a bit too heated, too whatever, it's getting out of hand, and I say apple pie. Now, keep in mind that the foundation of this is that we agree to this, right? So the woman agrees to this.
Wow.
And so if she's talking too much, if she's going on and belaboring the point, I say apple pie, then she's supposed to shut up.
Mm.
right? She's supposed to shut up. And if she doesn't shut up, then I just gave her the safe word. She didn't acknowledge the safe word that we agreed on. Safe word. Look at the irony in that.
That's right.
I just gave you the safe word to let you know that you're about to be unsafe.
Wow.
Huh? So I gave you the safe word. Now I get to exercise domestic discipline of another adult in, a way that I guess is suitable, agreed upon. Now this crosses over into, I guess, what they call it, S&M or whatever.
Yeah.
But the point is, to your point about domestic violence, there's a lot of that going on. And even to the point where you can find unhealthy people who think that they're agreeing to something that is really a very dangerous thing. We talk about Black women. I think the rate is something like every 6 hours or 8 hours or so, a Black woman is abused in this country.
It's less time than that.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. And I also know that there are a lot of women who initiate domestic violence too. Just because it's not physical doesn't mean that it's not violent.
Absolutely.
It can be emotionally abusive too. So we really got to be mindful of how we're interacting with one another, how we're treating each other, how we're regarding one another, because I think oftentimes at the core of our problems with each other is our valuation system.
Yeah.
We subscribe, many of us, not we, because I don't.
Yeah.
Many of us subscribe to this valuation system that says, if you're white, you're all right. If you're yellow, you can mellow. If you're Black, get back, right? So the darker your skin on this scale, the less valuable you are. And then you're treated accordingly, even in the most loving relationships that we're supposed to be in.
And that's crazy, because if you go back, I remember being in high school. The girls, if their boyfriends weren't punching them, weren't pushing them, hitting them, why? Because we subscribe to the fact that, why did mommy, every time Tommy kicks me when I'm on the playground, and then, he just likes you, baby, don't worry about that. So then that little girl at 7 years old is thinking, Timmy, he just likes me, that's why he hits me. So then when she becomes a teenager, she's mouthing off, and he must don't love. I've had girls to say this in high school. He don't love me because he don't hit me. So these things, these seeds, this harvest that we're creating within each other, within our children, within our generations that have been also done to us, we have to understand that we are fighting, we're being toxic and poisonous toward each other for a narrative, as a cause of a narrative that we didn't create. So what do you say all the time about the conflict turn into combat? What do you say?
I say that conflict is inevitable, but combat is avoidable.
So we're combating each other over something that we didn't cause personally. But what we're doing is we're spinning in our own take on it. We got this spin that's been going on for decades and hundreds of years that's been coming up against us. And we're like, well, just throw that in and we might as well, let's keep spinning. No, stop the machine.
Yeah.
Stop throwing things in the machine, because it's nothing's going to get cleaned in there.
Yeah. We're doing a lot of blame game too. We talked about this earlier where, many of our men and women, this is toxic, right?
Yes.
Many of our men and women, they see this scenario as the men versus the women. It's us versus them. It's me versus you, rather than me and you versus the problem.
Right.
There's a problem that we're facing, but it's not her problem. It's not his problem. It's our problem. And until we began to embrace this thing, whatever it is that we're fighting against, as our problem, is going to remain to be a problem. I have this saying in my book. I took this African proverb. It's the word for it is Ubuntu. It's spelled Ubuntu, Ubuntu, and it means I am because we are. That is a concept and a principle that I apply very heavily, that we apply very heavily in my marriage. My wife doesn't have a problem that I don't also have.
Right.
She doesn't have a problem, or I don't have a problem that she doesn't also accept as her problem or her challenge to help me overcome. So any problem that either one of us has, we both embrace it as we got to do this.
Yeah.
Right. And I think too many times we hear things like, "Oh, you jealous? I ain't doing nothing. That's your problem if you jealous. That's just you." And I'm saying that's bogus. It's my job as her comforter to make her comfortable.
Yes.
You understand that? That doesn't mean that I have to overly compromise myself. There's such thing as over compromising way too far. But I'm saying it's not just her problem.
Yes. It's not. And we have subscribed to that. You know, I can't make you happy. Yeah, no, you can't make anyone happy. But as we always talk about, I think Brother Vaun said this last week, and we talked about this many times in our shows. You can't make someone happy, but you shouldn't be adding to their unhappiness either.
Right on. That's it.
You know, so you cannot keep subscribing to that. And that goes for people. That goes for friends. That goes for female friends of the opposite sex or opposite sex friends. If your opposite sex friends is causing havoc in your relationship, don't be like, you know what, she need to just get it together or he need to just deal with it. I had these friends before I met him or her. Okay. But when you decided to commit to him or her, you decide to commit to whatever issues, challenges, baggage, problems that they have. And if you don't think of that, then you're going to keep approaching it in a manner of, it ain't my problem. It is your problem. And if you don't want to be with that person, then that's different. Just like Yarly says, cut her loose. If she doesn't inspire your desire, her exit you must require. Now, this is not the attitude that we want to take when we find people that we are compatible with. And now let me say this. There are people that's as toxic and poisonous that you need to run away from. Not saying that this is not 100% right. But let's go 50-50. Let's say 50-50, get away from the toxic, poisonous people that just don't want no better, ain't gonna do no better, and just decided that they're gonna be who they want to be because they're just, I'm grown, I can do me, you do you. But then there's some people that what we've been subscribing to earlier and throughout our time here is that we're subscribing to something that we're trying to take hold of something we don't have a narrative, we didn't create the narrative for. So if there needs to be some healing, is this person not worth the time, the patience for you to show up and say, you know what, I've arrived. Brother Vaun talks about that all the time. What do you say about people coming up and they heal, but they want somebody else not to be? What you say?
Oh, what if you don't heal from what hurt you? That part?
No. When you said people want to, they went through their healing, but then they want somebody else to show up.
Oh, yeah. I say we have the tendency to give ourselves all the time and grace that we need to evolve, but we want the other person to show up as a finished product.
See?
Right. So
we do that.
Look, just to kind of veggie back on the point that you just made. Sometimes we're passing over some really good people, right? People who would ultimately make a very healthy compliment for us. But keep in mind that the Black experience in America means that you're going to show up to the delivery point with a few bruises on you, right?
Bruises.
Ain't none of us showing up as perfect fruit. Like we like to pretend, oh, she got to be this and he got to be that. Come on, man. We all showing up with a few bruises on us. Like I remember listening to James Baldwin speaking. He said, to be conscious and a Negro in this country is to be enraged almost all the time.
Wow.
Right? Listen to that now.
Wow.
Be conscious.
Wow.
And a Negro in this country is to be enraged almost all the time. So if you walking around singing, don't worry, be happy. Okay, that's cool, but you're probably not very conscious if you're not at least in tune with, and that's your choice. Wow. You can be as unconscious as you want. You can sing and whistle Dixie if you want to, right? But a lot of us, those of us who are a little bit more informed, none of us knows everything, but some of us who are a little bit more informed, we got a little bit of bitterness to us. We got a little bit of anger, like the angry Black woman thing. I want my woman to be a little bit angry because that lets me know that she's at least in tune to what the plight is.
Yeah.
Right? That don't mean I want her cussing me out.
Right.
Stop that.
Against the narrative.
Yeah, against the narrative. Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, anyway, you get the point.
Yeah. So James, thank you so much. Femininity is a soft place to land and recharge for this battle called life. Absolutely.
And so look, so is masculinity.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, women are out here catching hell from the work. Look, listen to this, family. I know I've been long-winded today, but let me hit this.
Come on.
There is no other woman in this country, on this planet, that the advertisement to her is that out the womb, you are naturally not good enough.
Not enough.
Except for the Black woman.
Yeah.
She is naturally, the marketing to her, the advertisement to her is that she is naturally not good enough.
Not enough.
Right? That means your hair got to be fixed, right? Because, hey, if your hair ain't fixed, like every other woman can walk out, put it in a ponytail, and her man ain't got nothing bad to say. Society ain't got nothing bad to say. But it just became illegal to discriminate against natural hair in the state of California. And what?
Right. I was about to say not everywhere, because the Crown Act is not everywhere.
You see what I'm saying? So naturally, they're saying she is naturally not good enough. So when I find, and then the message from a lot of our men is, you wear that fake hair, you da da da. So it's almost like in many regards, she can't win for losing.
Yep. Because
if she wears her weave and extensions, because she's got to make a living for herself, because many of the jobs won't employ her. Yeah. Right. And then on the other hand, if she wears the weave and extensions and so on, the men are saying, many men, not all, but there are many men who are saying, oh man, what's that?
Yeah.
You fake. So she's got this battle that no other woman on the planet has. Yeah. Watch this. In order for me to healthily relate to my woman, I have to understand what it is that she's battling. You understand what I'm saying?
Come on now. There you go. And on the other side, in order for me as a man, a Black woman, to understand and be supportive to my Black man, us Black women, we must understand the plight and from where he comes from, that he's trying to find his way in this white man's world that has been telling him that, you know what, I'm gonna take you out the crib. I'm gonna give your girls a little bit of change, but you can't be there. And no, you don't get to keep your crown. You need to let that go, because you're not the king of this castle anymore. Bye-bye. Now you a simp. Now you broke. You'll never be this. And I'm not gonna give you more than 45 G's a year unless you go get your own business, because you hustling. And if you out there doing on a hustle, you working 60 to 70 hours a week. So guess what? You're not home enough to be with your woman. No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a lot of different things that we both, Black men and Black women, are battling for a narrative that we didn't create.
Yeah. Yeah. The marketing part of the marketing to us is that we are naturally incompetent. Naturally not capable, naturally unable to protect and provide for the woman that God gave us.
Yes.
So she's looking at us like, why you ain't showing up? She's been watching TV for so long, just as long as we have. We're both internalizing some very dangerous messages that if we internalize them enough, we don't fit together. We don't.
And we're not trying to now, which is why you have so many people, that so many Black men and so many Black women who are saying, ain't no good women out here. Ain't no women out here. They just playing all these games. And you got the Black man saying the same thing about the Black woman saying the same thing about the Black man. Check this out though. Yeah, it's some women out there who playing games. It's some men out there who playing games. But I bet if the majority of us turned around and decided, you know what, no more. I'm not going to allow anyone to play games with me or not be a part of that narrative. I'm going to wise up, get conscious, wake up, and then do something differently. Or I'm going to be like my brother's keeper, be my sister's keeper, and say, girl, now you know that's messy. Why you over there? You know you married. Why you doing that? Mm-hmm. Or girl, why you treating your guy like that? That's not cool. Don't do that in front of people. Or girl, you know what? You should probably give him a little more respect. Or, you know what? Did you notice? Did you ask him how long of a marriage he's ever seen before? because that's probably why he trying to get out from being married to you in the first 2 years, because he ain't never seen a marriage. His parents never got married.
Yeah.
So you got to ask those questions. You got to find, if you find somebody that you are corely in the core of who you are. I mean, y'all can sit down and have really good conversations. Yeah, y'all might have some battle, some conflict. It ain't about not having conflict. It's about managing the conflict. But if you learn that first and foremost, we really kind of like each other.
Yeah.
Work that crap out. Work everything else out. Get with Coach Vaun. Get with me. Get with both of us, so that people that really care about the relationships, people really relating to each other, to harmonize relationships, to do that, then get with them so that we can teach you how to relate to each other, so that you can then have a healthy relationship. So I know we come up on an hour. Let's go a little bit long. Let's see. Can we go another 15 minutes? Yeah. 15 minutes in this? Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Thank you so much. Both of us you are needed in our community. You're both assets, and assets always give a great return when we make that investment. Thank you so much, James. We really appreciate that. Really do. Yarley says it is also who will be believed. There are genocentric belief that most domestic violence is perpetrated by men, so there are services and shelters that help women, but when it's reversed, there's very, very little help. There's also prevailing idea that a man have to take the violence that the woman can inflict on them. The thing is, the reason why anything, if you ever go to work and you see a note on the wall, it tells you, don't put I know this is TMI, don't put the sanitary pads in the toilet, ladies. That's because somebody put the sanitary pad in the toilet. If they say cover your dish when it's in the microwave, that's because somebody did and they left food. It's always a reason why, because people voice what's happening, and when they voice what's happening, those services are put in place. Men don't talk about that.
Yeah. There are a lot of men who don't report the domestic violence because, look, in many regards, we are
embarrassed.
We're embarrassed, and we think it makes us look weak if our woman is beating on us. So I will wholeheartedly acknowledge that there are many women who do initiate domestic violence. There are many men who are being terrorized in their homes by their women, even if just verbally, and they don't want to leave because they don't want to be disconnected from the child. And so they endure a whole lot more than they otherwise would. And there are also women who don't report the domestic violence that they're experiencing. Yeah. So there's a whole lot of stuff that the stats really don't tell us.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But that doesn't negate the fact that the stats are still saying what they're saying. Right. Yeah. And there are a lot of people who are they're enduring a lot of stuff that they just shouldn't have to go through.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about, let's say this with Yarley's comment. We come cracked, but hopefully not cracked up. Yeah. And then, hello, Ferrante. Thank you so much for joining us. Peace and love to you as well.
Salute.
So let's talk about how do we remedy this, brother? Because we if y'all been following us, we're about solutions. We're not about just getting on here entertaining you, although we are entertaining. Although we look real good. We don't just want to show y'all how beautiful we are and how fine we are, but but we want to make sure that you walk away with some nuggets that you can implement in your life so that you can either share with somebody. Somebody might be going through this that you are connected to. So let's talk about some remedies. How do you remedy toxic masculinity, brother?
Yeah, one of the primary things that I promote is coaching. Now, some people might say I'm biased because I am a coach, but it's really the other way around. I actually became a coach because I saw the need.
Me too.
Right? Like my marriage started off very rocky. I was a very toxic young man, right? And so my wife endured a whole lot of unnecessary trials and tribulations and pain and frustration that she should not have had to endure in the early going in my marriage. So probably the first 10 years were very turbulent for us. Yeah. And so I finally started learning some things. I started getting hip to the game. If we didn't have as many children as we had, my wife would have left me a long time ago.
Wow.
I'd be the first to tell you that. My wife, look, I'm sitting here as the love alchemist, and people want to know how you did it, and oh my God, you guys look so great together. Man, the hell with all that. My wife would have been gone 15 years ago if we didn't have the babies that we had that kept her anchored to me. Thankfully, during those early going years, I learned how to overcome that and reverse that. So I went from my wife hearing my car pull up in the driveway. She used to say this all the time.
Wow.
Me pulling up in the driveway, her knowing that I was on my way home made her stomach hurt. Right?
Wow.
Do you understand what that?
Wow.
She hated the thought of me coming home so much that it would make her stomach hurt.
I mean, can you imagine that? I mean, let's pause. Can you imagine you sitting in your crib, you you watching your show, Kara? Oh Lord,
yeah, made her sick, right? And so somehow, some kind of way, we made that transition. I learned, I became better, and so our relationship became better. Now, back then, I had a lot of the same complaints that a lot of men have now. Oh man, she won't shut up. She talk too much. She always got to have the last word. Da 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 da. I didn't realize how much I was pouring. Look, I talked about showing up with that bag of seed and then having to pull up with a truck to reap the harvest, right?
Right.
I needed 2 trucks.
Wow.
Right? Because I was sowing so much bitterness.
Wow.
Into the soil of my relationship that I didn't have room enough to receive what was coming back.
Yeah.
Right? You understand? So I'm saying all that to say, I know I'm not the dumbest cat on the planet. Right? I'm at least average intelligence, at least.
You more than you above average.
Give me a teensy bit above average, right? So I know that if I struggle like that, there are a lot of men who struggle like that. And so part of the reason that I became a coach is so that I can pay it forward to kind of to go back and get those who are struggling with many of the same ideas, false understandings, misunderstandings, I should say, that I had. And so I said all that to say that one of the primary things that we can do to help overcome this toxic behavior that we have, this poisonous behavior that we have, is to go out and get yourself a coach. Not just any coach, because there are a lot of coaches out here. There are men out here who are coaching other men, but they hate women.
Yep.
Right? There are men out here. I mean, they say some flowery, colorful things that sound real good. They got all these statistics, and oh yeah, this, that, and the baby mama, and don't mess with single women, single mothers, and they got all these ideas that might sound good to a wounded spirit.
Yep.
They sound good to a wounded spirit.
Hear that again. Say one more time.
They sound good to the wounded spirit.
Yes.
But the reality is that the origin of that message is coming from a place of pain within themselves. And so I say, don't just get a coach, but get a coach who cares about a healthy outcome for your life.
Yes.
So I'll start there. Go ahead, Coach. I'm sure you can add to that.
Yeah, I just really think that, one of the things I mean, you sure you don't want to go? Because I have a 4-step thing. You want to go? You got some more?
Yeah. Well, I had this acronym that I came up with for coaching. And so part of, I'll just add to what it means to find a coach.
Yeah.
And I'll throw, so nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care.
Right.
Okay. So this is why I say find a coach who cares.
Yes.
Right. Not just one who has a lot of information, but one who actually cares. Right?
That'll do it no matter what.
Yeah. One that particularly cares about a healthy outcome, not just outcomes. I could go on with that. But secondly, I would say your coach needs to be optimistic. Right. You got a lot of pessimistic. I mean, I'm trying not to cuss, but y'all know I used to be a sailor, so I got a lot of potty words in me. Right. But I'm saying you got to find a coach who's optimistic, who sees bright. Look, there are some people who can't see the sunset because all they can see are the specks on the window.
Man.
You want to find a coach who can see the sunset, who allows you to paint a vision for your life rather than being limited by what you see in front of you. Yes. See, sometimes our sight can be the enemy of our vision. All we see is the pain. Yeah. Right? That's what our sight shows us. Oh man, I don't want to be hurt. Oh, this girl, that girl, this dude, that dude. The hell with all that. You need somebody who's a visionary. who has a long-term ideal for what a healthy outcome looks like for your life. And I'll pause there because I can go on and on, but go ahead.
You sure you didn't want to go to the A? There's 3 more. Just go ahead, spit them out, and then you have to elaborate.
Okay, so the next thing you need your coach to be is one who can accurately assess, who can provide an accurate assessment for your life. What does that mean? He has to be accurate in his assessment. He or she has to be accurate with their assessment for where you are, where you want to go, and then what it takes to get there.
Yes, there it goes.
Right? There's 3 steps, right? Where you are, that has to be accurate, because otherwise they can't give you a roadmap to get to Washington, D.C. if you're already in Washington, D.C. Right. And then let's just make it. There's the Mall of America in Minneapolis. Right. Yeah. I want to get to the Mall of America that's in Minneapolis, Minnesota. If I'm coming from Savannah, Georgia, my roadmap is going to look a little different than if I'm coming from New York City.
Yeah.
Right. So that accurate assessment has to be tailor made for the path that you're on, with where you are and the journey that you need to be on.
Yeah.
So every roadmap won't do. If I give you the same instructions, you coming from New York City, but I give you the same directions to get to the Mall of America as I give to the person in Savannah, Georgia, somebody gonna get lost. And I'm telling you right now, that's what's happening. There's a lot of people out here that's getting some very general information about what people think might be healthy, but the people are ending up lost.
Y'all, if y'all looking at us right now, make sure y'all clicking the share button. Go ahead and type some people's names in the comment section so that they can be tagged on this, because this is some good information that needs to be said and heard from by some men. If you know some men, if you know some ladies, to add them to the comments. Start tagging some people. Give us the heart. Go ahead. I'm sorry, brother.
Yeah, I think I'll just end up with these last 2. I think, look, I like to consider myself cool, right? So you gotta have a coach that's cool. Now, what am I talking about? Am I talking about nice flat collars? No, it ain't what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is this life has brought a lot of people a whole lot of pain.
Yes.
Right. And if you have a coach whose pain mirrors your pain, he ain't cool enough. She ain't cool enough to give you the type of advice to get you where you want to go.
Yeah.
You have to have somebody who's able to see beyond what the pain points are and allow you to help navigate more pain points, more roadblocks, more stumbling blocks that might be in your path to help you healthily arrive at the outcome that you want. So they have to be cool and calculated to offer you the type of outcomes that you're looking for.
Absolutely.
Right? And then last but not least, your coach has to be, listen to me, man, your coach has to be harvest minded.
Yes.
Harvest minded. I said you reap what you sow, right? What are you sowing? And first and foremost, the seeds that you have to sow have to happen in your own life.
Yep. So
that you show up to the relationship healthy enough so that when somebody else shows up who's healthy, that they can match their completeness with your completeness. You're not having somebody that's showing up hoping that they complete you. No, you look for somebody to show up that can share their completeness with you. Otherwise, if you don't do the work on yourself and sow the healthy seeds into your own life, your soulmate can come up to your door, knock on your door, and you'll run them the hell away.
Or miss them.
You were not healthy enough to receive them and appreciate them and reciprocate in their lives the way that would allow for a healthy outcome.
Yes.
Right? So that's my whole acronym for coach.
I love that. I really love that. That is a really good acronym. And if y'all been watching us, thank you so much, Danielle. To my coach is cool too. Thank you. I appreciate you. And Amina says, I love y'all show. Keep doing what y'all do. Thank you so much, Amina. We really appreciate you. That was real good. And if y'all been watching us, we are coach. That's what we are. Everything that Brother Vaun said, that's who you see when you're sitting in front of us every Sunday. I know that we off of our day today because our brother Vaun is traveling. He graces with his time, so I really appreciate that for you stopping in because he has to be taking care of his family. But let's talk about how to remedy the poison femininity, and it's the same as you do poison ivy. Isn't that crazy? That's still that oxymoron, that feminine ivy name and poison, right? It's the same way. The first thing you got to do is you got to be knowledgeable and you got to be aware that it's even there. You cannot heal something that you didn't know was there. So you got to become more aware. Instead of pointing the fingers and doing a blame game all the time, ask yourself, wait a minute. So I've been in this situation, that situation, and this situation. Which part of these things I have a part in? I always tell my clients that are dating, if you run up on a dude, because I deal with women mostly, if you run up on a dude that goes, yeah, you know, my girl, she wasn't this and she wasn't that, and you say, well, what did you do? Oh, no, I was the best man I could have ever been. Leave. Okay? Because if y'all been watching me, all of the situations that I have been in, although I didn't physically make somebody walk over and have sex with somebody else, I still had a part in it. I was mouthy. I was disrespectful. Oh, I knew how to cut the tongue. I was making more money in different situations, so I knew how to do that well, you know? Oh, you ain't this and you ain't that. Oh, honey, the man was no good in my mouth during those times. Okay, I got a little bit better with the last one, but that still, I had some issues. So you want to make sure that you first understand that being feminine is not a weakness. That's another part of that awareness. It's not a threat to who you are.
Say it again, please. Say it again.
Understand that being feminine is not a weakness or a threat to who you are or want to be. It's not. It does not mean that you can't boss up when you go to the conference room. It doesn't mean that you can't be a strategic business owner. It does not mean that. It means that you utilize the gifts that you have been given to you.
Can I say, look, this is
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Your time, but let me just throw this in here. My wife can get so much more out of me when she speaks to me softly and sweetly than she'll ever get from me if she's yelling at me.
Yes.
Look, the louder she speaks, the worse my hearing gets.
Come on.
Right? Go ahead.
And if y'all ever seen, she's so dainty. I just love her. Y'all know me. I'm a little loud, but let me tell you, loud and disrespectful are two different things. Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to tear in a black man. One, I have a son. I don't want any woman, his wife, or anybody else to be tearing into him and downing him or tearing at his manhood. I'm not going to ever do that to a black man. I'm not going to ever do it to my black sisters or any sister or brother for that matter. I'm not going to do that. I have a video that went viral on TikTok, and it talks about how pretty I am as 50, right? Whatever. Anyway, so the other woman, it kind of stitched one woman who said, 50 where? And I was like, oh, 50. I'm sorry. What does that look like? And people were in the comments. It's like 70,000 people that viewed this video. I got about 3,000 comments. All these comments, many of them are saying she uglier than you. No, she's beautiful. I just said, what does 50 look like? I'm beautiful too. She is too. We need not do that to each other. Okay. You neither then clean or purge. You want to clean your will, W-I-L-L, house, so you can operate in your will, W-H-E-E-L, house. Now, what does that mean? Your will, W-I-L-L, house, is your mind and your emotions. Your will, W-H-E-E-L, is your familiarity of who you were created to be, area of expertise, your confidence, your natural abilities, which is for the woman, nurturer, life bringer, producer. So you want to clean up your mind and your emotions, the mindset that's causing you to be poisonous, the emotional baggage that's causing you to be poisonous. And then you want to become familiar with who you were created to be and work in the expertise of your femininity. It is the most powerful thing on this earth that a woman can do. I don't care how many degrees she got. I don't care how big your coin bag is. Sorry, y'all. It's a little gnat. I don't care how big your coin bag is. Don't care. If you're not operating in your feminine and you don't know how to do that, you are broke.
Ouch. Did you mean to do that? That was a nice one. You meant to do that?
I did. Should I hit the thing?
Yes, that was nice. Is this thing on?
Right. Number 3, you need to don't pick at the infected area. Whenever you have poison ivy, they tell you you got to know it's there. You got to clean it. Then you don't pick at it because it's just going to make it spread. So you want to resist going back to the things that cause the injury. If you find yourself with the same people, girl, men are stupid. They all dogs. Forget that. But you done found you a good man, and they over there telling you, "No, honey, he ain't gonna do nothing but cheat on you. He ain't gonna do this and he ain't gonna do that." Or your aunties and your sisters and your cousins who sit around and talk about all men are dogs and you only use them for their money. And if you got a PU, why? Then you should never be broke, and all these different things that we have generationally seeded into us that causes our femininity to wean. It's just, you resist that, let it go. Yeah. And lastly, you want to medicate. You want to heal or treat by getting help and support to keep further or future injury away. And that is by, as Brother Vaun has said earlier, get a coach. You know, if y'all like Vaun, we always say this, if you like Vaun better than me, you think I'm too loud for you, please reach out to Brother Vaun. Please, this brother, I'm telling you, we coach clients. We have couples that we coach together. And to listen, it's so amazing how when we're debriefing, we like, man, you said that. Yep, I said that. We said the same thing, you know, because we are so much alike in our coaching processes. If you want a man that's going to pour into you because you haven't had a man to pour into you, but you need that in your life, Brother Vaun. If you like me better, if you like us both together, whatever the case may be, get a coach. Get somebody that can help support and get you through this so that you can finally get your latter years better than the former ones that you've struggled through by yourself. And I'm off that soapbox.
Powerful. That man. Cherry on top, man. I ain't got nothing to add to that.
You know, I just really hope that, how about this? If you don't do nothing and you have not reached out to us for coaching, go on to conditionsoflove.com. Go on to Coach Michelle. Is it the Conditions of Love or just Conditions?
Let me type it in here.
Go to Brother Vaun's Vaun of Love Alchemist's website. Get his book. Okay, go to my website, get my book. Now, I want to be clear. His book is more on the relationship aspect of it. My book is more on healing self.
What's your website, Coach?
CoachMichelamonè.com. Because we have to get to Brother Vaun. If y'all didn't see our show that we did with Brother James Gifford with the Judas Den earlier today, y'all go back and check out that replay because it was powerful. Yeah. But Brother Vaun, I just lost my thought.
It's all right. It'll come back.
He said something powerful today, and I just lost it. But anyway, you find the help, and if you can't sit in front of us, get our books. Find some solace, something that can connect to you and go, wow, that was pretty good. And then when you feel like, okay, now I still need some more help, because you're going to need some more help after you get our books. Okay. Our books are designed to love yourself with, thank you, Holy Spirit. When he talked about a young lady who had reached out to him when he first began coaching, you first started coaching, tell them that story.
Yeah. So I hadn't even started coaching yet. I was still a very young man at the time. And
okay.
I might have been in my mid to late 20s.
Okay.
And yeah, you know how we hear all these cliches, and the one cliche that was really popular at the time was love yourself. Yeah. Everybody was talking about loving yourself. Yeah. And I had gotten to the point where I think that I was starting, I guess, I think I was in a decent place of loving myself, but I still hadn't embraced the fullness of it to the extent that I do now. And so she was having trouble with her marriage, and she was getting the short end of it. And so one of the things I did was I said, you know, you got to love yourself. You got to love yourself. And she said, well, how do I do that? and I couldn't answer her.
Wow.
The cliche sounds so good.
Yeah.
And it sounds like the right thing to do. It sounds like the right thing to say. It sounds like the right place to be.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how to build a bridge from where she was to where she needed to go.
Yeah.
And that was part of what inspired me to be where I am right now, because I hate not having answers. Few things bother me more than for somebody to ask me how to get help, how to get healing, how to be better than they are.
Right.
Few things bother me more than not being able to help them do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so this is the thing. I was having this discussion about loving yourself. We have, let me say this and then I'll go into that. We have come to the conclusion that things have to be extraordinarily difficult. It has to be this huge event. It must be something that has 1,500 pages and we got to go through it because my Bible has 1,598 pages for me to understand it. Oh, in order for me to love the Lord, I got to read the whole Bible. Yes, you should. But that don't mean if you haven't started, that don't mean you can't love the Lord. It's the same thing. Just because you don't know exactly how, love is simply this: knowledge. When you say you love God, most people didn't read the 1,598 pages. And that's because I just got big words. That's why my Bible is only 1,598 because I can't see. But you know, so most of us haven't read the whole book from cover to cover, but we still say we love the Lord. Why do we say that? Because if we really understood what loving the Lord means, it means knowing the Lord.
Yeah.
And in order to know the Lord, you got to seek the Lord. In order to seek the Lord, you got to spend time with the Lord. It's the same thing as loving yourself. You got to seek. You got to find knowledge. You got to look for understanding about yourself. You got to spend time with yourself. You got to do things alone to figure out who you are, to then love yourself. Because guess what? Let me tell you something. When you invest that much time and energy into something, I promise you, you will protect it. And when you protect it, that's when you will make sure that the people that are in your life are adding to your ROI, your return on your investment, or they cannot be there.
Yeah.
So this was good, brother. This was real good. I enjoyed this. Did y'all enjoy this today? Did you get something out of this? Please let us know in the comment section if you got something out of this, if we were able to help you with anything, if you enjoyed this whole session. If it's something that you have a question about, please let us know what those questions are. Let's see. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Ferrante said, it is ideal to have higher energy fields, coaches, to raise us up out of lower, sabotaging, and limiting fields of energy. Look, even Michael Jordan had a coach. Saying the boy was good.
Come on.
But he didn't become great without a coach.
He didn't.
And you know, I don't know. I think we are the Michael Jordan of the coaching game.
I think we are.
I think we that good.
Philip. What's his coach name?
Phil Jackson.
Phil Jackson.
Yeah, we the Phil Jackson.
Yep.
And I think we are that good. I pat us on the back.
I do too.
We are that good.
We get results.
Yeah.
We get results. Our clients. I'm sorry. We click the same thing.
Go ahead.
Yes, I did get a lot of thoughts from my book. Come on now. That's all right. Yeah. That's one of my clients, and she tell me I can say this. So I already got permission. That's permission. Yeah. She told me I can use her as the guinea pig. Let me tell you, my client, how much can I tell, Danielle?
Uh-oh.
Not details, but I'm talking about like from where you were to where you are now. Let me know that. But you all, please make sure that you're hearting us, giving us the heart, thumbs up or something. Share, because sharing is caring. Don't forget to subscribe to all of our channels. Coach Love, Vaun Love Alchemist, also as Coach Michelamonè, and All Things Relevant ATR, so that I can make sure that you all can make sure that you're getting the notification that we are coming on. So listen, when I met Danielle, our conversation was, huh? What you say, baby? Tell me what you say. So now that girl's like, listen, coach, what I need to do to become a coach? Because I've learned so much from you and you've helped me. I mean, turning her life 180 degrees. Do you hear me? This girl has done the work. She has put in the time. Every 2 weeks she meet with me. For the first 2 months, she was meeting with me every week because she was like, I need so much help. What we need to do to meet weekly. And yes, she says she's pretty transparent and you can share anything about me that can help others. Absolutely. This woman, I'm telling you, she did the work and she always talks about how she's learned so much. You know what I'm saying? So, and you know, coaching works. What Vaun and I do, we get results. They talk about, I heard this investment guy, they call him $1 trillion man. I can't think of his name right now, white older man. He said that personal development was created to be the biggest scam ever, right? Because it cannot be measured. Oh, let me tell you how Vaun the Love Alchemist and Coach Michelamonè can measure results.
That's right.
We got couples marriages that have been saved. We have divorces that have been put off, gone away. We have couples that have gotten married. We got people, we got results. Go onto our pages or ask us. We can email you some results. We can email you some testimonies. We got results. It can be measured. We don't play. This is not something we call a game.
Yep.
So we're going to let y'all go about y'all's day. We thank you all so much for joining us and staying with us and engaging with us. Please make sure that you share the replay for those who are looking at the replay. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you meet us again next Sunday because we won't be here tomorrow. Next Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We love y'all so much. You want to close us out, brother?
Listen, family, we talked about toxic masculinity and poisonous femininity. And the goal is obviously to not be those things, right? And so hopefully we said something that inspires you to do better than what you've been doing, to become ultimately better versions of yourself. And at the end of the day, you know, when it's all said and done, all you can do is all you can do. And that's enough. Just make sure you do all you can do. Yeah. That's the word, family. Love y'all.
Talk to y'all later. Bye.